The Vergas Show is brought to you by Spanky Stone Hearth, casual fine dining on beautiful Rose Lake. Vergas State Bank, your locally owned community full-service bank. Vergas Event Center for gatherings large or small, including weddings. Vergas Liquor Store, where all the profits profit Vergas.
Make the right call. Call Hanson's, the most trusted name in plumbing and heating.
Hi, welcome to the Vergas Show. I'm Sherry Hanson. Thanks for joining us today. We're still working with our veterans. Last week you saw a show that referenced Vietnam veterans, these 19-year-old guys that were going to war. And this week I'm with one of the oldest veterans that I know, Alwyn Martinson, who was a 17-year-old guy who headed to World War II, and we're going to talk to him in a minute. I'd like everybody to maybe grab their Vergas Veterans on Review book if you got one back in the centennial time of Vergas's in 2003. If not, stop at the bank. I've got an extra copy that I'd let you look through. It's a good thing to do to remind yourself of all these people who sacrificed, who gave of their time and gave of their service. And when you go through here, you're going to recognize a lot of faces, just like I did. You're going to recognize a lot of people that are no longer with us, and it's going to give you also an opportunity, like we are today, to recognize those that did serve and are still with us. And so I want to get right into you. And so when I look at this book and I see your picture in here, tell me about the beginnings. How did it all start? Where did you grow up, and what prompted you to go into the service?
I grew up, well, I was born in a farm home at Rothsey. And then we moved to Breckenridge area, went to high school there, and country school was fine, but the high school I didn't like. And after my 3 years of high school, my 2 older brothers were in the service, and when I turned 18, I would have had to register for the draft, and I didn't have any chance for deferment because I had 2 younger brothers at home. So I told my dad I wanted to enlist in the Navy, and so he said, okay, and I'll sign for you.
Did they talk about this at high school or anything about people going in?
We had pep rallies once a month in the auditorium. And I don't remember if it was the last Friday of the month or what, but we'd go down there and they promote the sales of war bonds, and you could buy the saving stamps, and I think they were 10 cents, you know.
Okay.
But everybody contributed. We had scrap iron drives, and they cleaned out the old groves and stuff on the farms. Sure. And the old machinery was hauled in for scrap.
So all through your young formative years, you were hearing about the war. You were
right.
You were making sacrifices at home before you even went into the service.
Oh yes, yeah.
What were some of those sacrifices people had to make? Do you remember?
Oh yes. Sugar was rationed, meat was rationed, and if you butchered on the farm, you had to report it.
Okay.
And then of course gas was rationed, and there was a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit.
And so you were talking about the headlights on these cars.
Yeah. Well, they're the headlights back then, where they were the big round ones, and the top half was blacked over, so that if a Jap spy plane came over, they wouldn't, if you were driving along the road, they wouldn't see you.
It would defer that light.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, when you said that your dad was happy that you signed up.
Yes, yeah.
It was a different time then.
Oh yes, yeah.
And so you already had 3 brothers, and so here you are, 17 years old. Walk me through the process. Where did you go? What happened?
We went up to Fargo, and the recruiting offices were in the courthouse or the post of, I don't remember where, but anyway, we went in there and I signed up for the Navy, and the good recruiter, he was a good one, he talked me into 4 years, so I was from 17 to 21.
Sure.
So,
and then where were you based right away? And how soon did you leave?
Just a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Then I went down to Minneapolis to Fort Snelling, And from there, I was sent to boot camp at Vergas, Idaho for the Navy.
Okay,
And
now you're a 17-year-old farm boy. Had you been off the farm? Had you traveled this far before?
No.
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 Okay, so that was an experience in itself.
Oh, yes. Yeah. But you learn fast.
You do learn fast.
Yeah.
And so from Idaho, where did you end up in?
Well, then we were given an aptitude test, and they sent me to radio school at the University of Colorado. So I went there, and that was about a 4-month course, and 124 in the class, and I graduated 13th from the top. The dean of the university said, well, you got enough credits here, you get your high school diploma.
Nice.
So I got that.
Yeah.
And then, being I graduated that high, they wanted me to go on to more school, and they gave me an aptitude test for that. Well, I flunked that good because I didn't want to go to any more school. And
You were learning fast, right?
oh yes, yeah, I knew. I'm learning my way around. So then I got
Just a farm boy, right?
Yeah. Well, we weren't so dumb.
No, that's exactly it. You weren't at all.
So then I was sent out to Seattle, Washington, got on a troop ship, and took off from there. Went down to San Diego and loaded up with supplies and went to Pearl Harbor, and then from there to Guam. And there was 500 ships in Guam, off the coast. And I, believe it or not, being I was a radio man, I could read signal lights.
Okay.
And I called another ship, and I called any ship from Minnesota, and they said yes. And then I said, what town? They said Breckenridge. And I said, what's his name? And they said Martinson. My brother was in a merchant marine.
And he was on a ship close by.
Yeah, and I met him there then. Of course, we couldn't tell the folks. You couldn't say anything about where you were at or anything like that. And then we went to Iwo Jima and landed troops there.
Right. So this is the ship you were on, the USS
Yes.
Logan. And so the radio operation of that, where was that located? Were you?
Oh, we were up in the upper part.
Sure,
you
were up there.
Yeah.
And so how many men would be on a ship like this? Okay, you've got it right. 455 feet long and 282 people on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you also go on to say that you buried 11 at sea and 200 wounded. Yeah. And so you came to really know your comrades on that ship.
Yes.
You got to make some, lifelong friends, and you've also got some awesome stories. Alwyn, you and I had talked one time about when you had to take one of the smaller boats like this.
Yeah.
Tell me that story again.
Oh, well, we were hauling supplies in. There was 4 of us in there. They always had to have a radio man along in case there was trouble.
Mm-hmm. And so they call on you.
Yeah. So, so we went in there and we unloaded the supplies, got all done, and ships left to go out to sea at night at about 5:30. They wanted to get out before dark and they would get away from the coast line. And so we got unloaded, and the 4 of us got on the boat, and they dropped about a 5-inch shell right down between the 4 of us, and it went right through. And but it didn't explode, so we were lucky. Well, then I called the ship and I said, you'll have to wait for us. I said, we're taking on a lot of water. And they said, well, we can't wait. So I shut the radio off to save the battery, and I took my helmet off and helped bail water. We bailed for about 45 minutes, and well, then it got dark and they quit shooting at us. And they never did hit us again.
Alwyn, are you willing to come on another show? And I've got another story I want you to tell. Today we're going to have to wrap it up here, but
Okay.
I want to take this opportunity, especially on Veterans Week like this, to just thank you for your service. I want to shake your hand. I know that it doesn't happen. You know, people forget that there are a lot of people that gave, and I know you're one of, what did you say, 4 or 5 in this area of the World War II veterans. Jeanette Gruen, who lives in Vergas here, is in this book too to look at. But thank you for your service, and we're going to get you on the next show too. All right, Alwyn. Thanks so much.
You bet.
You have a good day in Vergas.